day, people. This is Sharpino here, welcoming you guys to the Pokemon Sweet Tooth review, or the Sweet Tooth version review. So before I get started, I think it goes without saying that if you guys have not played the game and you guys don't want spoilers, I will be going through some of the things that did happen in the game. So if you don't want spoilers, stop watching the video now, go play the game, and then come back just to see if what I said is what you thought about the game. Other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into it. So, just some background information about the game. Pokemon Sweet Tooth version 2, or Sweet Tooth version, was created by Ephraim225 and Chonini, who are the original creators of the original Pokemon Sweet version. So this was a additional game from the first one, so it's the second series. I don't know if we'll get a third one anytime soon, but I mean, I think they did pretty well, but obviously they did have some things that need to be worked on in this game. But let's just go through some of the things here. So some of the artists that helped out with this game were Draconite545, Bubbly Pies, sorry, Pickup 2000, Gender Pegasus, That Random Strider, and Thomas Fan 22. If you guys don't know where to find them, in your cookbook they'll actually be listed there, all the artists inside there. So that's how I knew it. So, like I said, this is a continuation from the first Sweet version from over 2 years ago now. If you guys don't know, Pokemon are now what's called Pokésweets. They have new typings. It's not grass, water, and fire. It's now lime, blueberry, and strawberry or cherry or whatever. There's a whole lot of different flavors. There's a whole new different charts, a lot of different typings, and everything else. So from the first game to the second game, there was a few improvements, including some of the things such as the physical special split, which definitely came into effect in this game here, which I thought was great. And they fixed up some of the typing so that it made more sense for them to be some things. For example, they had fire and electric attacks under orange, which I didn't think made sense considering you had such a big thing like lemon. And then they fixed it up, and then they made lemon electric types in this game here. So they did pretty well with that. So let's go through some of the positives that I felt was so good about this game. So first and foremost, the first point of positiveness, I will give to this positiveness, making your own words, is the creativity. The creativity in this game was absolutely out of this world. I mean, you had 151 Pokésweets from the first game, but coming from the first game into the second game, they had a lot more than 151 Pokésweets, let me tell you. So these guys definitely put in the finest of work with preparing a lot more Pokésweets and a lot more different legendaries and everything else in the game. So some of my personal favorites was the Hydreigon, the Ground Gyarados, which are both Hydreigon and Groudon, and then you have the Mudpie lineup. I loved the Mudpie lineup, and I wish I could have caught it from my Nuzlocke, but it is a terrific Pokemon nonetheless, and I did love the creativity behind these ones. Some of the ones I thought were pretty bad, and this is just my opinion, I'm not saying you have to agree with me or not, but the Pytails, the Summercomb, which I did say in the first review was bad, it still is, and Heartis. Now, Heartis just didn't feel like there was a lot of innovation behind it because it just looked like the same as it was, except it was purple. Summercomb, like I said, just looks too over the done with all the cones, its legs, and everything else. And Pytails, considering they had a Pokemon that is known to have majestic tails, beautiful looking, they really dropped the ball on that one. I really thought that Pytails was the weakest of the Pokésweets in this game anyways. I didn't really see the appeal for it. Like, you had Volpine, which did look good as a baby Pokemon, then evolves and you'd be just like, oh, okay, whatever. So that's just the first point. The next point is the story. It was better than the first game and it made a lot more sense. So in this game they discussed obviously tackling cholesterol, and then you had your rival who was trying to help the professor with Mega Evolutions. So you had Mega Sweets and Mega Evolutions in this game, and the thing was that the professor wanted to learn about it, but your rival actually wanted to use them. So there was that interesting kind of storyline where the underlying, like the protege, somehow becomes the villain. I know a lot of superhero villain movies, they kind of follow that same logic, but it's actually pretty interesting in this game, especially when you think about that the professor's asking to help him find them. And I mean, while you're finding them, that was my rival than Bird, but in this game, your rival is actually collecting them and trying to build a gigantic sweet army to tackle the entire world. So it was very interesting, to say the least. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the Mega Evolution. So the Mega Evolutions, they were pretty powerful. You obviously had your three standard starters, your Charizard, your Pistoise, and your Chocosaur. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. I can't remember what the Venusaur lineup, but anyways, basically what it is that in this game is that they had all Mega Evolutions, and then they had other Pokésweets that had Mega Evolutions as well. I will say though, so that instead of it distinguished by the Pokemon like they do in the original games, they distinguished it by types. So the problem that I think with that was that you couldn't tell which ones belonged to who. So I mean, for example, in my Let's Play, I had Hipflan, which is both an orange and a raspberry typing. So because its primary typing is orange, you would think the orange Megastone actually Mega Evolved it. Well, I tried using the raspberry, which is a secondary typing, and for some reason that Mega Evolved it. So, if anything, I would say I think that the way the original games did it with defining who Megastone belongs to, works a lot better because then it makes that people can pick up the Megastone and go, okay, this is for this Pokemon. Instead of playing guesses with the Pokemon based off their typing and hoping for a Mega Evolution for every Pokésweet. Like, I just think it's better that way. But still, the Mega Evolutions were pretty good in this game. So that's another one. Next thing I want to talk about is the Pokeball and Gym Leader mechanics. Now, Gym Leader mechanics, of course, same for the third time, 3 courses as well. You know, that you can enter a gym, you battle the people, but if you leave, they all get healed up. And basically what that does is that, well, first off, you would need to train Pokemon. They're there for you. It's all good. You can make money, so if you need to make money, they're all there. And it's interesting because you got some players who just, as soon as they beat one trainer, leave, heal, leave, beat another trainer, leave, and heal. And this gets rid of that. So it actually forces you to build a stronger team, even if it means having to go back and face everyone all over again. It's actually a pretty good concept there. And then the Pokeball mechanic, of course, was the fact that, well, even if you don't catch a Pokemon, you get the Pokeball back, which I think is something that a lot of people have been arguing for years, that it doesn't make sense that you would lose a Pokeball if you didn't catch a Pokemon. Where'd the Pokeball go? Did it just vanish after you've thrown it? Like, you know, it was interesting because it did tie into the real life issue of, well, really, you should keep your Pokeballs if it misses or it fails. But this game is like, of course, we hear you, and that's what we've done in this game. So kudos to the creators for that one. Another positive is that HM is not needed. But again, this is where things get a bit confusing. So HM is not needed. But the one thing I found confusing about that aspect of it was, in this game, is that you didn't know which Pokemon could use what. You didn't know who could serve. You didn't know who could use cut. You didn't know who could use strength. It was just by pure chance that if you happen to have a certain Pokemon on your team, that it would work, or if it doesn't, you have to find a certain Pokemon that meets the requirements. So it's a little bit confusing, but at the same time, it's good because they're doing exactly what Sun and Moon did, and that was get rid of the whole HM mechanic. But in saying that though, in Sun and Moon, they actually had other Pokemon that were given to you to say, okay, here's a Charizard to fly, here's a Machamp to move big things. In this game, it wasn't like as clear cut as that. In this game, it was more like, well, if you have a certain Pokemon like, say, a Croconaw or a Nanagator like I did, that could cut, surf, and use strength. But you wouldn't know because there's nothing to say, well, that's what it does. So, really, I think maybe have something a bit more definitive, like either like Sun and Moon have items that act as HMs, or, just, put HMs in, but just give them a typing. Because I don't think people have anything against HMs except for the fact that they're normal types, which was most of the time from like Gen 1 through to Gen 6, pretty much. So pretty much the entire time, Cut was normal. Fly was just fly, strength and all that wasn't fighting type or rock type or whatever. Like, you had a lot of arguments to say that HMs would be better if you gave them typings, instead of just making them normal or whatever. So that's that. And then lastly, the last positive I want to give this game is the physical and special split. So I think it was good they did it like that, because in the first game, a lot of confusion came about because you didn't know which typing was what. I mean, you knew what types they are, but you didn't know what category they fell under as far as physical or special. In this game, they have all the moves, all the types, and the split, which I think is fantastic because as a player, you don't get frustrated when you actually understand what your moves are and how it suits your Pokemon stats, or in this case, your Pokésweet stats. So that's all the positives, but now, unfortunately, we now go to the negative part of things. So, unfortunately, we do have negatives, but you know what? Every game's not going to be perfect, but you know what? The important thing is that you learn as you go along. So, if anything, as long as you guys learn from your mistakes, that's really all it is. So, some of the negatives I found in this game, and I think this is a major one, is the glitches in this game. The glitches were absolutely ridiculous. From the music stopping to game crashing moments where it was reading a letter or opening your map in certain areas, the glitches were ridiculous in this game. Even when I was accidentally went to an area I wasn't supposed to, but because I used strength earlier in the map, I went to an area I wasn't able to go to, come back out only to be trapped. It's really stupid. And also, when you go to get those 2 legendaries on the South Island, and you can't even leave or use an escape rope. That's stupid, okay? That is what ruins a good game. Honestly, like I said, if it wasn't for glitches, I would have given this game a 10 out of 10 because I thought the game was terrific. But those glitches really did kind of irk me a little bit as I was playing through the game. Another one I touch on was that some of the Pokemon that were sprited in the game, their stats didn't really meet their requirements, well, not the requirements, but their normal stats if you were to play them in an actual Pokemon game. So this could be argued both ways, but like, from what I understand, some of the new Pokésweets that were brought into the game were sprited over older Pokésweets that were in the game. So you had some Pokemon that stats were similar to an older Pokemon, but the design obviously was like, I'll give you an example. I watched King Nappy's Let's Play, and he had M-Ball, but its stats was exactly like a Jumpluff. So it doesn't make sense, especially when you look at, M-Ball such a bulky attacker, and then you got, Jumpluff who's a very fast, nimble, frail attacker. So it would make sense if you could adjust the stats yourselves. I mean, you probably could, just to make it more suited to what people are commonly known through the original Pokemon game. So, but at the same time, it's interesting when you see it in different stats because it means that you can use Pokemon differently because of their different stats. So again, you could argue for and against with this one. Another one I want to talk about, and I just touched on this before, was the Mega Stones. The thing was, having the Mega Stones for types is good because you can use it for certain types, but it's vague and not specific enough that if people were to understand, okay, so this is an apple type and I have a Mega Apple, should I try to Mega Evolve it? Because A, it may not work because, it's not suited to them, or two, why would I try if, Mega Evolutions wasn't a thing? And you have that weird level glitch thing where if you had, say, level 50 and then when you Mega Evolve it's level 49, it makes it very confusing to use a Mega Evolution. So really, that glitch in itself made using Mega Evolutions a little bit funny. But I think that the original Pokemon games have it nailed down by giving specific Mega Stones to specific Pokemon. That way they know if they find that Pokemon, they can use that Mega Stone for that Pokemon, and that's it. Not, well, he's the same type as this Mega Stone, I'll try and Mega Evolve it, oh, it didn't work, that sucks. So, it makes it easier for newer players to get into the game if they have a more clear understanding of the Mega Stones in the game. That's just, Another thing I want to talk about is the gym placement. Oh my god, gym placements. Let me put a map on the screen right now, here. And now you can see the gym placements. Obviously, have a look at here. So you got first, second, and third. Now here's the thing that I want to talk about. The way that you start adventure, you start off based off which Pokésweet you choose, and then you take a certain path accordingly. However, the gym placements do not fit for that, and the game doesn't adjust itself to make it for the fact that if you do take one path, all the other levels will be changed. So say for example, like I did in my Let's Play, you go down south, and you go to the gym there. That's the third gym. Now, you can't really go back to second and first until normally you're supposed to continue a path there. But those three gyms have all Pokésweets of the same level. So it doesn't make sense that they would not adjust the levels to kind of, keep it a little bit higher because they're all exactly the same. But I think at the same time, they kept it that way just in case you were able to go back, which is what I did anyways. But just in case you go back, you can go ahead and face those gym leaders because they are all relatively the same level. Which I understand, but at the same time, it can be seen as a bit lazy when you don't have a bit of a difference in distinction of the levels. And then you have all the other gyms that just look, like I said, the order is very configured. And depending on which path you take at the start, you can go either third with sixth, or second with fifth, or fourth, or third with fifth. It was just very disjointed. And then you got seventh and eighth at the end, which really, those ones aren't the issue, but it's really that whole startup point, because I got third badge first and second badge and first, then I got sixth badge, fifth badge. It was just, it's all over the place. Normally, a Pokemon player would like a bit of structure in regards to the order of gyms they get to attend to, but in this situation, that wasn't the case. So that's just, Another thing I want to talk about is, like I said, about the gyms for levels, the level gaps. So, level gaps really wasn't a big thing in this game. I think it was relatively balanced as far as its levels, but, you start with 15s, you end up with 20s. They actually kept it relative. As far as, the first game where they had their first Pokemon, the first trainer is level 12, and then the gym leader has, level 25. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is it so far in levels? But like I said, because you could start on certain paths, if you went all the way down to the end, right now you got like level 25, level 30s, and you go back to say the second or first gym or whatever path you took, those Pokemon still remain the same. They're not adjusted in any way, shape or fashion So they remain the same, which again, it creates a bit of a confusing atmosphere because it's like you're trying to verse stronger as you get along, as opposed to versing all these stronger. Then you go back to start weak, and it's like it almost feels too easy, if you know what I mean. Like you want to be challenged as you go along. So you start with 10s to 15s, you go 25s to 30s, then you go 35s to 40s, and you gradually build up. This situation was just very weird. Now, the last point I want to make here, and this is a little unfortunate because it does have, it does have something to do with the game, but really this is a bit of it's an issue. So it has come to the mind of obviously the creator, and it's on his Twitter, so you can follow this. But unfortunately, it's been brought up that a concept or a Pokésweet on their game was actually stolen. So really, I'll just touch on this. So I went on Twitter myself and actually investigated this a little bit myself, just because I really was interested in finding out what exactly was it that went down. So apparently, Echo the Third, which you guys don't know, is the lead artist of Pokemon Insurgents. Now, as you guys will know, at the Suzerain is the creator of the game, and it's really one of the best renowned fan-made games of Pokemon. A lot of people have given high reviews, myself included, and I think recently it just got a new update. So everyone really was on board with the new Insurgents and everything else. Now, it has come to the attention of this guy here, who actually did tweet out about this, who said, and I quote, "The game has a great concept, too bad their artists steal art from other fans." Now, Ephraim, of course, was unaware of this, so he goes, "Would you like to point me towards which art was stolen?" And then you have a look, and he puts a picture side by side, and it says, "Your chocolate Mega Miltank," or Chocolate Tank in the game as he calls it, "is literally my Mega Miltank sprite, but edited without permission." Now, you look at both Pokésweets, it looks exactly the same, and the only difference is the coloration, which does make me feel sad because I really thought it was a great, it was a great concept, and it was, Chocolate Miltank, Mega Evolution was great. It was a shame it wasn't their idea though, so I don't know which artists did that, but shame on them, because that's not fair to steal someone's artwork, edit it, and then use it, claim it as their own, and not even ask for permission. And I actually noticed in the newest Insurgent that they actually redid the Mega Miltank sprite. Irrespective of that, they should not have stolen a concept from someone else. Another artist, mind you, claim it as their own and put it into the game, and not even tell the original owner, which I think it sucks, because Ephraim really didn't know about this. And you see him reply, he's like, "I apologize, that was done by another artist I was working with. I had no idea it was yours." And then it goes on to say, "Well, can you please remove it?" Well, unfortunately, once you download the game, really the damage is done. There's not really anything that you can say or do. Once someone's downloaded the game, unless you, say, make a patch for the game that people have to download to have updates, which really I don't think they're going to do, because it's, it's an old game and all that. But my point is that if you're going to use something, always make sure you get permission. I don't know which artist did this, and really, I don't know if Ephraim does at this point, no, and I'm not blaming him for this, because even he was unaware about this. So, in hindsight, really, it's hard to come across, because it's like, it was a good concept, it was a shame it wasn't theirs, and someone has taken credit for that, and someone's like, "Yep, this is mine," and, fuck Echo the Third. And I could imagine Echo the Third was pissed off. I mean, I would be too. If I found out, if I designed something and then someone used it in their game, claimed as their own, and it's like, well, what the fuck, that was mine. So, overall, that's just all my negatives about the game. And again, I really think Ephraim's a good guy. I've spoken to him a few times. He's given me a few Pokemon sprites for the games and everything. That's how I get them together, and then I have to go on Photoshop and all that, and get them all cut out and all that. Oh, it is a bitch of a job to do the thumbnails and all that, let me tell you. But in saying that though, the Pokemon Sweet Tooth version was actually a pretty good game. So I want to go ahead and give my final marks in this game here. As you guys know, I do a mark on story, gameplay, and creativity. So for story, I'll give this game a 4 out of 5. I thought the story was pretty good. It had a good lead up. There wasn't anything that was too confusing or out of place. Although they did have some Team Rocket shenanigans in there, which really, I don't think they kind of got rid of. It was still like Team Rocket, but they had the enemies really had no purpose other than raiding a town, and that was it. At least in the first game, you had, the pirates, they took over a gym, they kind of made a ruckus. In this game, they were just raiding a town, then you all got defeated, and they all left. and that was it. There was nothing really more to it than that. So other than maybe getting a Mega Stone for themselves, which if you beat them, you got them. So I don't know. Gameplay, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 because of those glitches, guys. If you wanted this game to be perfect, just fix the goddamn glitches, and I can tell you that score could easily change. But honestly, those glitches are terrible, and really, no player should have to deal with those glitches. They really shouldn't. Finally, I'm going to give a 5 out of 5 for creativity because, like I said, the Pokésweets they did in this game was absolutely well done. You know, all the different levels and everything else was fantastic. So, honestly, guys, I think that was a terrific thing there. So, overall, I'm going to give this game a 9 out of 10. And again, if they fixed up those little things, like the glitches, I would definitely be on board with that. And the fact that in creativity, I should add on to that, you could adjust the music to whatever you want it to be, and they had soundtracks from Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Emerald, and all that. That was fantastic, and I really love doing that and putting every gym battle to the gym leader theme from Heart Gold, Soul Silver, which is my favorite, and then making the gym leaders Lance's theme. So that's going to be it for the Pokemon Sweet Tooth review. If you want to go ahead and play the game, link for it in the description down below. If you want to go ahead and give it a go for yourself, and yeah, that's the review for this and this game. And until next time, I see you guys. Stay safe, stay sharp, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Later.